I want to welcome everybody to today's Code Ninjas conference call. My name is Marty Flanagan. I'm the Vice President of Franchising over here at Code Ninjas. And I was in rush hour traffic racing to get to this call today because we do these each and every week, and they are important to us because they are important to you. So many times on these calls, we have individuals that they're already franchisees. They've sat on multiple of these calls because they always find them a little bit enlightening and informative. These calls are very important because we have so many people that like to hear these calls before they jump onto a one-on-one call with myself or Jeff Thames to talk about the next steps and dig a little bit deeper with Code Ninjas. So if you're one of them, that is fantastic. You're not alone. We have a lot of people that listen to these calls and before they want to do the next steps and jump on a one-on-one call with myself or Jeff Thames to talk about what it's like to come to a discovery day and just learn more about different parts of Code Ninjas. We are very excited to be able to continue to grow, to continue to add great franchisees to our overall system of great franchisees that we already have. We always talk about Code Ninjas by the numbers and how fast we've grown. This week alone, we've added 10 new locations, 5 new franchisees just this week. That's very validating. Every time we have a great week, we're adding 5, 10, 1 location. It's validating to us that we're continuing to grow in this direction of adding great franchisees who have really vetted us out, who've really, sat down and really broken down our business model. And some individuals, it takes 10, 11 months to be in that process. And if you have a territory that you're able to sit back and have a 10 or 11 month discovery phase, great. That's fantastic. Typically right now, that discovery phase usually lasts 60 to 90 days. Territories, they don't always last the longest to be able to have that part of your process. So we host these informational sessions, these learning channels. We also do discovery days. Discovery days are hosted at our corporate office in Houston, Texas. And those discovery days, they're by invitation. And they're meant and designed to be able to have you to be able to dig in deeper, and also to be around other Code Ninja potential franchisees that have done a lot of work, and maybe you've done a lot of work, and that's what those are really for. So when attending a discovery day, because I get that question a lot, so before we dive in, I do want to talk about that a little bit. Discovery days are, when they come to our corporate office, those who attend discovery days, 80% of those who attend are franchisees within 60 days. So just to kind of give you an idea of saying, geez, well, I want to come to a discovery day. We would love to have you come to a discovery day, but we want you to be in that bucket of saying, yeah, by coming to a discovery day, I'll be a franchisee within 60 days, no problem, because I've done my due diligence, I've done my work. And, we obviously give you all the tools to help you with understanding what it looks like to be a Code Ninja franchisee. And by coming to a discovery day, you're pretty far down the road with us. So as we kind of dive into today's call, the format is pretty much the same on all these calls. When it comes to the questions, that Q&A section that we do on each of these calls, that comes at the end. And that's really where the longest part of our calls are. That segment alone could be 15 minutes. It could be an hour. It's really no time limit. It's really based on you asking questions. So that's at the end. How we start today's call off, in each one of these calls, we talk about our history a little bit. We talk about our founder, David Graham, a little bit. We're going to talk about the support of Code Ninjas and how we support our franchisees, why we became a franchise in the first place. We're going to talk a little bit about our different opportunities that families have to get involved in Code Ninjas, which would focuses more around the curriculum a little bit. We're going to talk just about one part of our curriculum, and then we jump into that Q&A. Pretty simple format. It takes about 15 minutes, and every call is typically the same before we open it up for those questions. And we have about 30, 35 people on today's call, which is about normal. We have about 30 to 35 on each call we have every week. So to talk about our history a little bit, David Graham, the founder of Code Ninjas, has been an entrepreneur, coder, developer his entire life. David Graham owned a school that taught adults how to code. So our team that we have actually lived in this adult world of teaching adults how to code. And that company David Graham started and owned and operated for about 4.5 years, and that school ran in about 18 different cities, or that company had about 18 different cities that it operated in. And David Graham sold that. And there wasn't a week that went by as he was in that world for about 4.5 years that he wasn't asked a question about the younger generation and how we get the kids involved. And he continued to see on the marketplace where individuals would come to him and be a part of his program that taught adults how to code, and where their really base knowledge of understanding coding and developing where it was at. And he continued to notice just the lack of understanding of what makes a great coder. It's not just a language, it's actually so much more. And as he continued to get more questions about the younger generation, the formation of Code Ninjas really started to take shape, of really helping us see what our core needs to be for Code Ninjas. So that's when we started to develop. He obviously stepped away from that other school after it was purchased, and he really started to focus on Code Ninjas. So David Graham, Bert, our CEO, and myself, in October of 2016, really started to bring Code Ninjas into shape. Really, what is it going to look like? What is our core? What is our fundamentals? What is our core going to be? And that's where we came up with kids have fun, parents see results. And when we were sitting there and David kind of coined that phrase and said it, Bert and I were like, yep, that's it. Kids have fun, parents see results. So we teach kids how to code through a game-based curriculum. That's our focus, right? We want to teach kids how to code through a game-based curriculum. We want them having fun. We don't want them sitting through long lectures like they do in school all day long, sitting in classrooms where they're trying to keep up with their classmates all day long, where they miss things or they shortcut the process. We want to stay away from that. So our main curriculum is a flexible learning system, which we'll talk about in a minute. So as we continue to develop that and continue to see that, and we released Code Ninjas to the market, to sell to be a franchise. And when we did that in in February of 2017. We went live as a franchise, if you want to say, by starting to award territories, market in different areas across the country. That was in February of 2017. In March of 2017, we opened our first location, and by April of 2017, we had our first franchisee aboard. So in April of 2017, we had one franchisee with one location open. The one location open was a center that we opened up. And now today, to kind of give you an idea, today we have about 260 sold territories across the country. We have more than 106, almost 110 franchisees now as of to date. We have more than 50 plus centers enrolling students to date. So we've grown really fast in that last, 14 months. And when we started off, we knew we wanted to be a franchise. We knew we needed to build this as a franchise because franchisees shape the customer experience. Franchisees shape the experience for our students and our parents. And the best way to have the best experience is getting the great franchisees on board and understanding that they're going to shape that experience every day for our students and our parents that come in. And also franchisees they shape the experience of that experience between franchisee and franchisee. They shape that relationship and cultivate that whole environment. So we knew to expand and to bring this into across the country, we needed to be a franchise. And so that kind of growth is supported by our internal support structure, organizational structure that we have. So when you become a franchisee, you're immediately supported with an individual that's dedicated to you for compliance, an individual that's dedicated to you for operations. So you have dedicated individuals on the inside in reporting and technology that are dedicated to supporting you as a franchisee. We also have online resources like Code Ninja University, which is constantly being added to with videos and podcasts. And we have obviously tons of documents that are built up into that. And even when it comes to interviewing, center directors and their job descriptions. That Code Ninja University it's like a Wikidoc. It's constantly growing and transforming, but that is there for you and your team as a resource as well, especially when you're owning multiple locations, which with 110 franchisees and more than 260 sold territories, you can see that just by doing the simple math that the majority of our franchisees own more than one location. So that you do not have to be an on-site operator. You can be an off-site operator of Code Ninjas of multiple locations. Then we have online collaboration tools. We believe the collaboration side of it, that's not just a word for us, it's actually part of our DNA. So you as a franchisee are immediately connected with all of our franchisees across the country, and we give you those online collaboration tools. So you're immediately be able to share information back and forth, documents, pictures. You're able to communicate back. We have different threads that talk about different stages, whether your center is just opening or whether we're talking about operations or curriculum. You have different threads in there to talk about different pieces. And really being able to share best practices immediately has been a great value to our franchisees. And also, along with that, is when you're able to support one another by going to each other's grand openings. And that's been pretty incredible to see and to watch with our franchisees, that some people fly to different parts of the country to be a part of, if they're at Discovery Day together, like to be at each other's grand openings. And definitely within inside the same state and same city, they're supporting one another by showing up at each other's grand opening and supporting them in that day, because it's an exciting day. So those online collaboration tools we have ready. We have Code Ninja University. We have the tech support. We have the dedicated individual support. We have new franchisee training that's done in person at our corporate office. Level Up training, which is going to be a training that we're going to be introducing next year, where your center director can actually be a part of a 1 day or day and a half training that's going to focus around culture and performance, culture and growth, how we're growing our business, and how we're on the culture of our Code Ninjas. So when it comes to building a positive culture and that experience for our parents and students when they come into our center, and also the growth side of it. We do have to communicate the value of Code Ninjas. We do have to help understand, ask the right questions to understand where our parents are at and where our students are at, and how can we get them plugged into the right plan for them inside Code Ninjas. And to roll right with that, to the plan, right, is understanding the goals of our students. What are the STEM goals that our parents have for their son or their daughter? And understanding that everybody has a little bit different goal, everybody has a little bit different budget, everybody has a little bit different experience in this world of this world of coding and programming. Some have, the majority of the public doesn't really have experience. So as we started creating our curriculum, we came up with this 9-belt system. This 9-belt system, and this is our drop-in program. This is that flexible learning system where they come in at their parents' convenience. They stay for up to an hour, and they come in up to 2 times a week. And that program in itself is made, like I said, made up of 9 different belts. Inside each belt is a learned set of skills or concepts. And at the end of each belt, they have to build a game that requires those skills and those concepts. And that's how they progress to the next belt. And then each belt compounds onto one another. So they're constantly practicing those skills and those concepts as they work through each individual belt. Those belts and those skills and those concepts, they build on one another. So it's that compounding onto one, it's like compound interest. Everything works together. That system in itself takes about 2 to 4 years for our students to accomplish. So when they're working through the Code Ninjas curriculum, they're working on that for 2 to 4 years timeline. But it's also, like I said, it's a self-paced program, but it's not a self-taught program. That curriculum is made up of about 40 to 45% of proprietary and exclusive curriculum. There's robotics, an exclusive robotics program curriculum that's built into this curriculum as a robotics. We have proprietary textbooks. Our students access this through our platform that lives on the cloud and through our proprietary dashboard that we built that they're going to navigate through the curriculum on. Our students can play the games that they've built from home to show mom and dad and show off their skills and what they've done. They can't progress through the curriculum from home, but they can actually show mom and dad what they've done. So we want to keep mom and dad engaged, right? We want to make sure parents are seeing the results of what their son or their daughter is doing. This is quality screen time. Also, they're obviously building, with the robotics side of it. They're having to use our proprietary textbooks. So that system in itself is really going to be why there's so many reasons why we're different. There's so many reasons why we're better. There's so many reasons why our numbers are where they are, and we're so far ahead of normal, anybody else on the marketplace, and why we've accomplished what we've accomplished. But this is just one of them, and this is one way that parents can get their son or their daughter involved. This is a flat rate tuition per month, so mom and dad are going to pay a flat tuition rate, and they'll allow their son or their daughter to access this curriculum and Code Ninjas itself up to, like I said, up to 2 times a week for up to an hour each time. So that is one way that families can get involved in Code Ninjas. We also have our camps. We like to say it's whenever there's not school camps. It's not just about summer. This is all the way through the entire year. We have different camps, spring break camps, winter camps, summer camps, one-day camps. There's lots of opportunities for families to get involved through the camp setting. We also have Parents' Night Out, which is going to be more of a fun way of getting to know our culture a little bit, a fun way of still playing virtual reality games, still playing those STEM-focused games. We also have our after-school program, and we also have birthday parties. So we have pricing structures for all of that, and we help you with understanding how that works as a franchisee in your marketplace. So we give you ranges of prices. We don't mandate a set price. We have a range that you work from inside your community. So that is the basic structure, an idea, kind of bird's eye view of who Code Ninjas is and kind of how we operate and why we're a franchise, where we come from, and kind of the growth we've experienced over the last 14, 15 months. Now what we do from here is at 15 minutes, we kind of go through that, and then I open it up to a Q&A session. So how that works for you is by hitting *6, that allows you to ask. And by hitting *6, you'll be able to virtually raise your hand. I unmute you. You can ask your question, and we can take it from there. Now, if I did such a fantastic job and nobody has any questions, then we're just going to wrap up today's call, and we'll end it. And then if you want to connect with us in the future, you can. So by hitting *6, it allows you to virtually raise your hand, and you can ask any question you have regarding Code Ninjas. Hi, you have a question?
Yeah. Hey, I've got a little bit of coding experience, and I've been getting my son into coding for about the last year. I was wondering, in this 9-belt system, how in depth do the kids get in to these programming languages? For instance, like say they take a language like C# or Python. Well, do they learn how to take that language and interact with other languages? Or do they learn how to take that language and take a module to, say, scrape the web or query data for their game or something like that? Do they learn how to do any of that stuff?
So, well, to kind of give you the baseline understanding is we teach kids, as we go through this, we teach them a core set of skills that are fully transferable. So we're going after problem-solving skills, critical thinking skills, all the things that make up a great coder. Time management, when it comes to leadership, collaboration. Our curriculum in itself, remember, we're working with 7 to 14 years old, right? So these first few belts, they're understanding the concepts of what we're doing. They're understanding what's going on, like what is this world even made of? When they get deeper and they're in belt 7, 8, and 9, that's where they're using JavaScript. They're using C# inside of Unity, in Unity 3D. So
that's cool. Yeah.
So they're getting really. So if you look at curriculum in general, I'm not sure if this will maybe exactly answer your question, but just to kind of give you an idea of what this looks like. With any curriculum, even with ours, kids stay in a box because they have to learn certain concepts and skills to get them to the place that you're talking about, right? So they're going to live in a box, but when they get to that belt 9, there's no box. That's what makes Code Ninjas so unique, is that we're getting them to the place to where the only thing that they have to, their box is going to be their own creativity, because they're going from complete, from conception to development to beta test to release to the marketplace. Yeah. Not of a game that's already built that they're going to customize. And that black belt, that 9th level, that black belt, it's complete. What's inside? They're making their own game, and they're doing that with inside of Unity 3D, and they're releasing that to the marketplace. They own that game, and they're going to release that for people to either download for free or purchase or whatever. So they're going pretty deep when it comes to that. There's nothing like it on the market, like what we're doing at that kind of level.
I see. All right. Yeah, that definitely answers my question. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Thank you. Hi, you have a question?
Hey, Marty. This is Daryl from Pittsburgh.
Hey, Daryl.
Hey, I want to thank you guys for doing all the recordings and putting them up on YouTube. It's been really good information, so thanks for that. My question is about the FDD. Is that something that we can get from you through an email request, or how do we obtain that?
Yes. Yep. You can, if you want to get the FDD and some more information, you can just reach out. I think you and I've emailed a little bit, so if you want to request the FDD, I can definitely send that to you.
Okay, will do. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. Hi, you have a question?
Yes, I have interest in opening up a Code Ninjas, but at the same time, I also work with a developer who has a couple of locations where he would love Code Ninjas to be. Is there any kind of network that you guys have of people that are looking in specific areas where we can get them in touch with people that would love to have a Code Ninjas as one of their tenants?
Well, we first want to make sure that if you're speaking on behalf of like a landlord that has a space that wants to have a Code Ninjas in there, the best thing to do with that is just send that information my way, and I can connect you if there's a franchisee in that market.
Okay. Okay. And then just email you.
Yeah, just shoot me an email. It's Marty, MARTY, @codeninjas.com. And if we have a franchisee in that area that is looking to open up, I'll send them your information and they can reach out.
Okay, perfect.
All right, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Hi, you have a question?
Hey, hi, I'm Rutika. I have a question. Do you operate in the other countries? Do you give franchisees to other countries?
We're actually in the process of for Canada for sure. Anything over the international market outside of that, it just takes anything we do there. You have to think of it being 6 months to a year away because of the legal parts that come with going international. Every country is a little bit different. So if you're looking at doing something international, probably the best thing to do is we can start the process of interviewing what that looks like and what kind of timeline there is, because it could take a while.
And whom should I contact? How can I be in touch with you guys so that I get the information as early as possible?
Yeah, well, feel free to send me an email, Marty @codeninjas.com. I'm the Vice President of Franchising, so I would definitely be able to help you understand what that looks like.
Okay, thank you very much.
Awesome, thank you. Hi, you have a question?
Hi, Marty. Yes, this is Jessica, and was wondering what is the capability or capacity of the Code Ninjas concept evolving as technology evolves?
Sure. Yeah, we have 3 full-time game curriculum developers. They focus on technology on the marketplace, and when it comes to teaching that to kids, how does it fit in with our curriculum, or do we need to create a camp? Camps are designed to increase the bandwidth of our current students and to introduce families into this world in a non-intimidating way, in a non-lowered commitment way. So when it comes to changing technology on the marketplace, you'd probably see that coming through as a camp first, because we want to make sure the newness of it isn't going to be a fad or isn't going to be something that's too difficult to teach. So a lot of the new technologies you'd probably see coming through as a camp before you'd see it coming through being a part of the main curriculum. But we have 3 full-time game curriculum developers. All they do is focus on how to build curriculum, whether it's a camp or whether it's going to be sharpening our current curriculum, because our current curriculum is complete but never finished. It's constantly being transformed. It's constantly being sharpened based on the marketplace and based on our feedback from our franchisees. One piece to that, just as you're talking, one of the things that people ask is why Code Ninjas over anything else? And I always say it's because of our franchisees. Having 110 plus franchisees and their eyes on the marketplace, their feedback based on what they're hearing in their market, we're going to have 100 locations open by the end of this year. And that feedback tells us how we need to pivot based on what our franchisees are hearing and feeling and seeing in their community. And that is why we are, I would say, poised to be in a position to be, when you think of teaching your kids how to code or in this world, you're going to think of Code Ninjas because we can pivot and move on the marketplace faster than anybody because of having so many franchisees out there.
Okay. And is that a strict 7 to 14, the age group? I mean, I know where we live here, there's coding camps, and it's very popular, and there's children much younger than there's 5 and 6 year olds going to the camp learning Scratch, which is very basic. But I'm just wondering, is that something that may evolve as well, or?
It may evolve. I mean, we have some 6-year-olds that join in on our curriculum because they're able to. I mean, when you're talking I have a 5-year-old and I have a 9-year-old and I have a 15-year-old. That's 3 very different attitudes and just personalities and temperaments that are happening, right? So when you talk about having a 5-year-old involved in something, you're going to have, that's a lot of great kids there, obviously, but that's a different group if you have a bunch of 7-year-olds together. So we've had 6-year-olds that act like 7, 8, 9-year-olds. I mean, there's a few out there that are very, they can dive right into our curriculum and they do great. But that's a lower number than the 7-year-olds. So we're not, we have, like I said, we have some 6-year-olds that get involved, but typically they got to follow instruction pretty clearly. And we have a 8-to-1, 10-to-1, ratio of code senseis to our students. So when you get to that 5 years old, you have to have a lot more code senseis involved.
Agreed. Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. Hi, you have a question?
Hi. I was wondering if there's a Facebook group or a Reddit where other franchisees may be talking or potential franchisees may be talking to get some of their ideas and talk to more than one at the same time?
When it comes to our franchisees, we have those online collaboration tools built into our system. So our current franchisees are talking on a regular basis. They're all their center directors, VMS owners. It's all organized in different threads. There's file sharing, video sharing, picture sharing. We have that built into our system. So when you become a franchisee, those online collaboration tools are just a part of your of you being a Code Ninja franchisee. And out of 110 franchisees, we're consistent with having 50 or more active users in that collaboration tool, which is awesome because you have it. I mean, everybody in there reading it, but you have 50 people interacting back and forth in organized threads. It provides a tremendous amount of information, and you can tag people in different conversations. So if you have a partner or if you're the owner and your center director's in there and you're both looking at something and you as an owner see something that you want to your center director to read, you can actually tag them on it and then they get notified and they can go and read it.
Okay, great.
Awesome. Thank you. Hi, you have a question?
Good afternoon. This is Jason Banks. I'm calling from Westchester, Pennsylvania. I had a question regarding some of the content on your website. I was wondering if you could break down the engineering and the architect fees.
Yeah, so when you become a franchisee, we do that. We obviously walk, when you go down this road with us, and we're talking about the actually build-out expenses and what it costs for an architect, we have all those pieces in place. We have multiple national contractors, so they give our franchisees quite a great value in terms of understanding their space and their design. We have construction manuals, design manuals. I don't think this is really the appropriate place to break down every expense because I think we need to get you in the process.
Yeah. I understand. I just wanted a general idea of what you were referring to. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Thank you. Hi, you have a question? Hello, do you have a question? Hi, do you have a question?
Yes, hi, Marty. My name is Alex. Wondering about the range of the kids is from 7 to 14. How do they do they get tested when they start the program? And in some cases, somebody who could be more familiar with the programming concepts, do they need to go from like the beginning of the belts or can they just kind of get tested and jump into the appropriate level and they progress at their own pace and so on and so forth?
Yeah, based on our experience there's just no way of testing right now to understand what they do know or what they don't know. Being that the majority of our curriculum is proprietary, or almost the majority, or we're about to cross the edge of majority here shortly, is proprietary. We have all of our students in the drop-in program, in that flexible learning system, which is just one way. They all start in the white belt because it's self-paced. If somebody has that experience, they're going to come in, they're going to blow right through it. It's going to be fast. They're probably not even going to get bored because they're going to see things that they've never seen before. But they're going to blow through it pretty quick, and they're going to get to where then they're going to get stuck. Then they're going to need help. They're not going to be able to go through our entire curriculum without help. They will get to a place where they need assistance. And this is from experience of having 50 centers now enrolling students. We have kids that come in who've been through camps. They've been to ID Tech camps. They've been out there. They've done it. They've even gone to the competition for a little while. When they come into our environment, they're going to get through that first belt or two pretty, faster than a normal. But then they get stuck. Then they get into a position where they need help. And being that they're seeing things I've never seen before, they get the skill, they get the concept, but everything compounds onto one another. And then they get to a place where like, oh, okay, now I need help. So we haven't had any issues with it so far.
I see. And when they do need help, can they reference the online information themselves, or do they need kind of the facilitators to do that?
Well, they have the textbooks there, and when they get stuck, they can obviously problem solve as best as they can. And if they can't get further through it, they're going to call on the Code Sensei to assist them.
Okay. Sounds good. And do they have ability to collaborate among themselves when they're in the center, or is it all individual?
Oh, yeah. Oh, no, even our dashboard actually has opportunities for them to actually create teams and work together because we found very early on that a lot of these kids like to come together at the same time. So actually they were like introducing, their parents to one another, saying they wanted to start coming at the same time. So you get a lot of kids that actually like to be there together. And so we immediately started creating collaboration tools that we're going to be able to have kids work on team projects together.
All right. And due to the kind of the flexible nature of the program, do they have the opportunity to kind of stop and come back and continue from the progress where they left off? Like,
yes.
Say they take a break for a couple of months or whatever? Or...
Yep.
Okay. Is there a minimum kind of requirement for somebody who's signing on to be a student to participate in the program for a minimum amount of time, or there's no?
Well, we give our franchisees the flexibility we want to communicate with our parents to let them know that this is not something they just do for a month and we don't see them again. We want to have them be consistent, like playing the piano or teaching how to swim or anything else. If you do it just for a month, you're not going to see the result like if you did it for 6 months or a year.
Mm-hmm. So since the time that you guys formed, do you have like the metrics related to the students' attritions, progress, and so on and so forth that you feedback to the franchisees and incorporate into your okay.
Franchisees can run all their own individual reports to show their own individual attrition, and then franchisees can share that. We also share general matrix. We don't like to point out certain locations because we want to keep their data private, but we share it with our franchisees so they understand company-wide attrition, or they'll understand, even regional. Being that this company was created by programmers and developers, and having, not including David Graham, 5 coder, programmer, and developers on staff working around, on a regular basis, 40 hours a week, our technology continues to grow, develop, and sharpen for our franchisees.
Mm-hmm. And the last question, I appreciate it. For the age limit is 14 years old. Can you touch base as to why that's the cutoff?
You start to get into a different mindset too. If you look at the market, the 7 to 14 is the majority of those who are getting active in this game-based curriculum. Being that we live in the world of teaching adults how to code, we're not afraid of. We know how to incorporate a deeper curriculum. That's not a problem. We know how to do that. And the master path, we have, we're hoping to release our master path here shortly. Just waiting to make sure that we're introducing it at the right time. Me as a parent, I wouldn't want an 18-year-old sitting next to my 8-year-old. So I think there's some things we need to work on in that setting to be sure that we have a safe environment for our kids.
Right. That was part of the reason I was curious to know about the safety and the different age groups all at the same time in the center. Okay.
Yeah, 7 to 14, those kids all seem to be clicking very well together across the country. You start to get into 15, 16, 17, 18. I'm just not going to want an 18-year-old kid, sit next to my 9-year-old daughter. Right. As a parent, that would be a red flag to me. I went into an environment.
And the centers are. And your networking centers are retrofitted in a way that they can't do anything other than your curriculum. They can't go on the internet and stuff like that by themselves.
Correct. When they come in, they're going through our dashboard, and they live on there. They're not in there scrolling through YouTube. I mean, you as an owner also have to be aware that your environment is being, coached properly.
Right. Okay. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you. Hi, you have a question?
Yeah, sorry, it was already covered. It was regarding when you guys were going to franchise internationally. So I think you covered that earlier on, so thanks.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Hi, you have a question?
Hello. Hey, I have another question for you. I saw something along the lines of having after-school programs. Now, I have a few questions about this. Now, one, is that something that is up to the franchisee whether or not they offer something like an after-school program? And two, how would they set that up? Like, would the franchisee basically have a vehicle like a bus or like a small bus that would go pick kids up from the schools, or would they work it out with the school system to have kids dropped off at the Code Ninjas location? How would that work out exactly?
Yeah, completely optional. It's not a requirement to do an after-school programming. It's completely optional. When it comes to the busing and we work with you individually, because we have franchisees that already have vans and buses that are wrapped Code Ninjas. Usually they're vans. Multi-seat passenger vans that are wrapped with Code Ninjas. So we definitely work with you on that agenda and what they do when they're there and how that works. Most of our franchisees are diving into other forms of revenue right now, and we have a few that are playing around with the after-school program. I think you have to be we feel you have to be very selective with that program on who you have coming in and being a part of that. We definitely want to encourage it, but we also want to make sure that we're not having 200 kids in there at one time. That'd be crazy.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you very much. That answers my question.
Awesome. Thank you. Hi, you have a question?
Hey, Marty. Thank you so much for hosting this. Just follow up to, I think, the earlier question that two of the ladies on the call asked as well regarding the international franchising. And will the franchising fee structure look the same, or will this be more on a case-by-case or country-by-country basis?
The only country-by-country basis that we would be looking at is if the larger opportunity countries, Australia, Europe, we're probably looking at a master franchise setup versus an individual. I know that Cyprus/Europe, but Cyprus is a place where we'd be looking at probably one location, so that would be much easier as just a single unit. Where, if you're looking at, England and such, and you're obviously multi-location, Australia, that'd be more of a master franchise setup versus doing a bunch of single units because of the support structure that goes along with that. You need to have much more support availability, and with the time change differences, we would definitely need to have more local individuals managing and running that support. So master franchising is usually the best way to go.
Makes sense. Thank you, Marty.
All right. Thank you. Hi, you have a question?
Hi, Marty. It's Jessica again. I just had a couple questions after listening.
Sure, go for it.
So on the experience day, are the franchise fees broken down more? Would we be able to find out more on that day rather than going into detail on the call today?
When it comes to the you set up a one-on-one call. We can break down everything with you. I can tell you right now, our franchise fee. It's easy. Our franchise fee is $24,000. Is our current franchise fee for your first location. If you're doing area development agreement.
My husband's actually talked to you, I think, several times. But I just didn't know if all the fees would be broken, like if we would get more of a complete overview on the experience day. I mean, obviously it's going to depend on the market. I understand.
Okay. So when it comes to breaking down, when it comes to understanding the breakdown of everything from construction costs to rent, I mean, that is something that we do together on something called a projection document, and that projection tool helps you see those costs. When it comes to the build out and the bidding process, we have obviously contractors, national contractors in place too, and to give you, that can bid out your space as well. So when it comes to the overall cost all in, that sometimes takes can be a little bit of a process. We know that right now $110,000 to about $275,000 is what we're seeing a lot of our franchisees coming in at with an 1,800 to 2,000 square foot space. And that 110 to 275 we call your all-in number. That's your franchise fee, coming to new franchisee training, that's your pre-opening marketing dollars, that's inventory, that's your design, that's your build out, that's your outside signage, that's a few months of operating expense. That's everything bundled into that number. That's like total turnkey.
Okay.
Is that range.
And so, well, that leads me to a second question, and then obviously we could discuss it more later, but has there been an estimated, return on investment or break-even point for the current? And I know it's going to vary by market there again.
Yeah, and that's where that Excel tool we made. That Excel tool that we made allows us to build. It has plug and play for revenue, and we can plug in all of the cost of doing business. In the world of franchising, I can help a lot with the cost of doing business. And then I give you the framework of all of the revenue side of it. I give you the framework so you understand. And we use the FDD. And by using the FDD, we can reverse engineer that so you can actually kind of see where your growth comes from. Are we being conservative? Are we being too aggressive? You can set your goals. So if you say, I want to make X amount of dollars per month, well, if your husband has said that, who's your husband?
Patrick.
Okay. So if Patrick says, I want to make X amount of dollars per month, then me and Patrick would build out model of what that looks like, and then is that realistic? And I'm pretty straightforward. If it's not realistic, I'm going to tell you. I can't promise you anything. I can't do the revenue part of it and the net. I can't. That's like against the law. But I can help with giving you the framework and then kind of taking it from there.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Awesome. All right. Thank you. Hi, you have a question?
Hi. Staying with the revenue part, so what is the average number of students and what's the average ROI average? Again, that doesn't have to be exact, not the best, not the worst, but just in the average.
Yeah, so I can't give any numbers outside of the FDD. So when it comes to ROI, that's not in our FDD, so I really can't share that. But I can tell you that our average number of students enrolled into one of our centers before we even open our doors for business is 59. So we have an average of 59 students enrolled before our centers even open their doors for actual official students coming in for business. Their pre-tuition enrollment is an average of 59 students.
Okay. When you say FTD, what do you mean by that? I'm sorry, I'll forgive my ignorance.
No, it's okay. No, I'm sorry, it's like slang, but FTD is a franchise disclosure document.
Oh, okay.
And to give any more detail with that, we can connect on a one-on-one basis. And then I can give you that FTD. We can dive into it and take a look at it.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Hi, you have a question?
Hi, I have a couple questions. First, I was just wondering about if there are specific development locations or areas that you guys are looking in the U.S. to develop or offering any sort of incentives to start looking at those areas. And then my second question was, what does a normal staffing model look like? Like on a normal day after school, is there a manager and then how many teachers? And are we restricted to specific ratios or state ratios, like a child per teacher kind of ratio type thing?
Sure. So when it comes to targeted markets, being that there are so many incredible markets left in the U.S. that could have a Code Ninjas, we don't offer any incentives. Do I know a lot of hot locations that are like match up with some of our highest performing locations? Oh yeah, it's what I geek out on the map all day long. So I know a lot of great locations. So that would be something you would work with myself or my partner Jeff Thames on. We would dig in with you and help you understand, where the best markets are if you're looking at going outside where you live or if they are where you live. We have a franchisee who's purchased 33 locations and he's all over the country. He's got a great big team, so he was able to grab great markets all over the country with opening all 30 locations in the next 3 to 4 years. So very aggressive. When it comes to the after school or just the overall staffing model, you're looking at one full-time center director, and when you open your doors, when you first open your doors, you're looking at 3 to 5 part-time code senseis, and they all don't work at the same time, obviously, if they are working at the same time, that means you're crushing it, because we do run that 8 to 1 or 10 to 1 student to code sensei ratio. So if you have 5 code senseis in there, you'd probably have around 50 kids. You're crushing it at one time. And that would be a lot because of our flexible learning system where they drop in at their convenience. To have that many kids there at once would be pretty awesome.
Yeah. So do kids sign up and say they're going to come on these days, so you know that you're going to need the staff to establish that 8 to 10 ratio, or how do you, anticipate if it's just a drop-in model?
So we have a reporting system that allows you to see your busier days of the week. We also help you with understanding how to train your team on to have code senseis on call if need be. But you're going to know when to staff your center based on the traffic from that week and understanding just the traffic flow in general of coming into your center.
Okay. And sorry, I had one more question.
Sure, no,
as
go ahead.
far as leasing a space, I'm assuming most of these are probably in a strip mall or something like that. Is there an average price for price point per square foot for leasing? Or what are typical centers?
It's all over. It's crazy right now. It's all over. It's all over. I'm sometimes blown away at a small market that's charging big city prices, and then I see a big city price getting charged a small market, rent. What we're finding a lot and seeing a lot is that landlords want Code Ninjas to be in their space. We attract the customers we attract, and the individuals that are paying what they're paying. Our average cost right now is anywhere from on our drop-in program is anywhere from $188 up to $240 on average in there, and some are even higher. Those parents are very desired customers, and landlords know that. So landlords are creating pretty compelling reasons why a Code Ninja should be in their space. A year ago today, landlords wouldn't even look at us. And now today, I get an email every single week. We had a gentleman on the call today. And I get emails every week of landlords wanting me to, push our franchisees their direction.
And then one more follow-up, sorry, and then I'm done. What is is there an average income or something like that we look at when trying to find parents to send their children? I mean, obviously there is a cutoff point or some sort of average that could afford going to Code Ninja?
Yeah, we work with all that with you. So you and I would work on that because we want to look at your market. I don't know the cost of living in your area. I mean, if I say it's $70,000 median household income, but you live in, Scarsdale, New York, that's borderline poverty. But if you're at $70,000 and you're living in, Bentonville, Arkansas, it's a different world. So we have to look at, where what the cost of living is in your market. We have to take some things into consideration when we do that before we start, and compare it to other centers that we have open and operating to say, okay, this is what we're looking at. And then that's why we give you that range and that price too for that drop-in program. We started at $150 a month, and it can go all the way up from there based on you as a franchisee. We give you that flexibility based on your market.
So is that something you help with before I sign the franchise, or is that all comes after?
Oh, yeah. Well, I want to get all this out of the way before you even become a franchisee. I'd hate to have you become a franchisee and then look back and be like, oh, why didn't you tell me that? That's not our world. We do all this beforehand. We're not the franchise who signs you up and then does a business plan with you. That's not what we do. We want to get that done first, and that's probably why we have a pretty cool group of franchisees, is they really know our business model. They have a business plan in front of them. They have a projection document. They really get deep insight before they sign on the bottom line with us.
Okay. Yep. And so the next step, I guess, is just to email you then to just set up a one-on-one call?
Yeah, shoot me an email, marty@codeninjas.com.
All right, cool. Sounds good. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Hi, you have a question?
Hey, Marty. My name's Andrew Thomas. How are you?
I'm doing well, Andrew.
Good. I've got a few of them, actually. The first one is basically, the STEM system of teaching is science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. And we've all been talking about coding. What about the other aspects of the brand, and how is it implemented to be cohesive with the coding, or is it just specifically coding?
Well, yeah, we're not getting into the engineering side of it. We're not. So when you look at, we don't teach math. Do you need to do math to code? Of course, but we're not teaching math. Code Ninjas is very much upfront in what we do. We're not STEM ninjas, right? So our STEAM ninjas. We're Code Ninjas. So it's very upfront. When parents come in, they're understanding what we're doing and what's going on. Mathematics, we're not teaching mathematics. We're not teaching engineering. It's when you come in, we teach kids how to code through a game-based curriculum. So, and it's STEM-related activities. You can still say that, but we don't dive into STEM or STEAM. We're not into the art side of it either.
All right. Well, I don't mean to be, critical or rude. I'm just extremely detailed.
No, go for it. I do this 8 to 10 hours. I do this 8 to 10 hours a day for the last year and a half. I'm pretty sure that you're not going to say anything I have not heard or been asked a few times.
Fantastic. Okay. It says here on your website the problems that we solve, and it says kids in the U.S. are failing behind in the rest of the world in STEM subjects. Now, if I'm a parent, which I am, and I have 2 kids in college, and they're both in computer science, mathematics, and business finance, and we looked at the mathematics side, and we're like, oh, you know what? pretty synergistic within the realm of understanding why people are coming here, was what you're saying in your website. So it was kind of confusing. So
you're talking about college age, but you're talking about college aged kids.
Well, they had to go. Yes, I'm sure my kids are in college, so it's for that. They've done it. They're through with it almost. But what I'm saying is that for me as a parent, not as a parent of my kids, but as a parent within the demographics that you put from 7 to 14, I think we wrote.
Yeah.
That's a pretty hot button. I know that from experience because I'm a science guy myself, and one of the reasons why I put my kids into private school is because they actually did teach science, technology, engineering, mathematics. And then the science and the technology is pretty much covering on the computer side and coding side, in between hardware and software, and going through the gamut from basic to whatever. What's the top program right now? JavaScript. So I was just wondering how that worked in there. But if you're saying that this is just for coding and then that's the business model, that's fine. That's not a problem. It's just an answer. My next question is it was actually based off of my first question, is what happens when a parent wants more on mathematics than coding? Well, then that would not be a primary customer target base, is what I'm assuming, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so
correct.
Right, so,
yeah. So when it comes to when you look at the if a parent is looking to dive really deep, because we got to look at what is 99% of the public like me. I'm not a science guy. I'm not a math guy. I'm not an engineer. I'm not a coder. I'm not a programmer. Never have been. Never written a line of code in my life. I would say that 99% of the public, or even let's say 95% of the public, I think I represent them. I'm a father of 3. I have no idea the value of coding. I didn't know anything 2 years ago. I didn't know the value of what coding brought to just the mindset of critical thinking, problem solving. I had no idea. And I believe that I'm 95% of the general public today. I read IBM articles. I saw all that. But I never really acted on it because I didn't know where to start. I didn't know what to do. And I walk into an environment that is overwhelming, like drinking from a fire hose. I don't know how to engage. I don't know how to engage for my kids. I wouldn't know how to do it. I homeschool one child. I have one child that goes to a private school, and I have another child that goes to a Montessori. So I do what's best for each one of my kids based on their learning styles. So we're about a mass market appeal of having people under. We have no hiding of our marketing. We're very upfront about what we teach, our marketing that goes out there to the general public, and we don't teach a hacked up version of coding. We teach obviously our kids, they're going to learn through Scratch, they're going to learn JavaScript, they're going to learn C# that's inside Unity 3D. They're building and developing a game they're going to release to the market that hopefully can be downloaded and purchased. I mean, it is we take them pretty deep. But to say we're going to dive, if you tell me that I walk into a Code Ninjas and they're going to teach science, and my wife is a master's in that whole world, that's her world. I mean, I think of science, I think of a completely different animal of what your kids are going to be learning.
Okay, I understand. All right, well then, there's another one. The financial model, you come up with a pro forma on how to build out the business and within the area demographics. And so what do you feel are the 1, 3, and 5 mile radius of draw for Code Ninja? What's the actual drawing capacity for Code Ninja?
I think it will vary depending on the market. It looks like you're in Houston. Is that correct?
Yeah, I'm actually not too far from you. I'm in Kima right now.
Okay. So when we have when you look at Sugarland, even though we have a young lady who owns all the locations in Sugarland. She has one location open now. That's been open for about a month, and she's opening another one here shortly. We know that we're going to draw kids from up to 5 miles away, 4 miles away, 3 miles away, and a mile away. What percentage is she drawing from? That data is available for her, and she's going to be able to see that because we give you. She knows exactly how many kids are within. We have the software, exactly how many students in our age range, and I can do a block around her center all the way up to 3 miles. So she has access to all that data. If it's not in the FDD, I can't share it.
I understand. Yeah, then there's a 14-day waiting period prior to communications, FDD, all that great stuff. I'm a franchisee on multiple franchises. I don't know about.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting. It'll be interesting for you to find a market in Houston since there are 23 sold centers currently there. That's going to be a tough one. I know,
that's what I'm looking at. But there are some spots that are actually available. Because I actually looked.
Make sure you're working with myself or Jeff Thames to help you with that, because that's a very, very tricky market there with a lot of sold territories.
Yes, but I actually have I have a draw that I'm thinking about, and that's the next question. What I'm going to ask you is, what other types of businesses around you that would make a Code Ninja synergistic to the environment it's in? Is it kind of like in a strip mall? Is it in a lifestyle center or a mall? Anything, or not in the mall, but maybe on the peripheral ring of the mall? Would that be something that would be a good place for a Code Ninja?
We only do the retail strip mall settings.
Okay, so that's retail strip mall settings. All right. All right, so you've been here for, you said, what is it, 2.5 years?
About 18 months.
18 months? Okay, so you're the Director of Franchise Development. What other brands have you worked with over time?
I was an executive at Anytime Fitness for about 12 years. I was their sixth employee and helped build that brand from 50 locations to 3,600.
That's a big number. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Well, I have a restaurant concept that I'm bringing to Houston, and it would be pretty synergistic to have Code Ninja next to my restaurant while people eat. Kids can hang out and do their job, and then they can leave. That was one of the reasons why I was very, very interested in your brand. So I think what I'll do is I'll shoot you an email, and maybe we can have a one-on-one conversation about next steps.
Wonderful. Marty, M-A-R-T-Y, at codeninjas.com.
Yes, I have your email address. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
No problem. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Hi, thanks for being patient. You have a question? Maybe I lost you?
Hello.
Sorry about that. No. Oh, hi. You still there?
Hey, hi. Yep, sorry.
Hi. Thanks for being patient. You have a question?
Yeah, I have a question. You said, I just wanted to know about the cost aspect. If it's like if I want to open something in the East Coast area of the United States, so what will be the total cost?
So here's what I would suggest. I mean, I can get you the FDD, which will break down all those costs with you, and we can set up a one-on-one call to actually see what that looks like for you in your area as well. Would that be helpful?
Yeah. So I have to email you for that?
Yeah, email me myself, or if you've heard from Jeff Thames or myself, feel free to send me an email. We'll take it from there.
Okay. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. All right, one more question, and then we're going to wrap it up. Hi, you have a question?
Hello, I am Christian from Houston, Texas. I'm actually an accountant son. I'm the computer science and business finance double major. Now, I had 2 questions, but one of them got answered. There's a long slew of the waiting list. So my question for you, sir, is how do you what are the systems, processes, and controls to keep a consistent customer basis over an area that has been saturated over time through maybe one of your older locations?
Well, our oldest location has been open just over a year. Mm-hmm. So when it comes to saturation, we've built our history has shown with our locations and how we've sold them is that we space them pretty far apart unless they're owned by the same owner, unless they have the same owner. So when it comes to saturation, I believe we're not a 2,000-3,000 unit center in the U.S. I believe we're a 600 or 700 unit center between Canada and the U.S. So our goal is not to have 5,000 units available, and we don't stack Code Ninjas on top of one another. So, and we've proven that. Yeah, and so to say, what is the saturation? I don't think that question can be answered for probably the next 3 to 5 years. In my experience, it would take at least that long of running of good operators, running their Code Ninjas on a regular basis, it's going to take 3 to 5 years to even understand it, because we're always about re-engagement. One of the things about saturation and about when a student leaves is how are you trying to engage them back? With our parent tech education, with our parents' night out, with our multiple camp offerings. If we have a student that passes through the drop-in program, but then feels like that wasn't for them, they're going to have multiple other ways to get involved along with their parents. So we're always about re-engagement. And if when you learn how to play piano, if you don't like it, you're done. You're not going to go to piano camp. This is technology. This is a different world. Between 3D printing and coding and droning, beginning JavaScript, and our drop-in program, our hackathons, our parents' night out, and there's so many ways to get involvement that we teach and coach you never to give up and never just say, oh, they didn't like it, so therefore we're not going to try to re-engage them. That's not what this is about. I mean, when somebody says they don't like it, what didn't they like? Where else can we get them engaged? What else can we do for them? Yeah, that's a given, right? We don't even discuss that. It's more of how are we coaching you to be able to continue to engage with your community, even if somebody went through your program and they didn't that wasn't for them. Well, maybe there's something else for them. So we're constantly trying to bring you different ideas and different ways to re-engage, students that may have left, or even your current students. If they're about to get bored, you need to know that, and you need to be able to get them involved in something else that's exciting. And are you passionate behind it? If you're not passionate behind it, if you're not excited about the offerings that we're bringing to the table, one, what are you doing to make it different? What are you doing to help us grow? And two, maybe it's your time to leave, right? We want to make sure that you're excited and passionate, because your community is going to buy your story. They're going to buy into you just as much as they're going to buy into your curriculum.
Right, and the more people that have good experiences, the more people that come to your door, right?
Well, yeah, and especially if they can say, hey, they didn't like the camp setting, but they love the drop-in, or they didn't like this part of the program, but they love that part of the program. Awesome.
Right. Okay, I have one more question about in the field of computer science. There's a few new topics going on, such as basic machine learning and such. Do you guys have y'all ever dabbled or thought to maybe encourage a team of developers in your company to maybe try something and teach kids a new part of the industry that's just coming up, or because there are redundant ways to teach things?
Well, that's where the camp settings come in, right?
Okay.
Being that our drop-in program is never it's complete but never finished. It's constantly being refined and sharpened. But then the camp settings, that's where you're going to introduce new technologies, new opportunities. We haven't even dove into the virtual reality world and teaching. I mean, there's so much more that we can do. It's just having the curriculum and creating the curriculum. And really, more than anything, you can create curriculum all day long. But if the market need isn't there, and if the market's not demanding it, you're kind of wasting your time. We want to make sure that we can create that content because the market is wanting it as well.
Understood. I had a question about a couple of your locations in California. I was looking at the map, the locations, and I can't remember which city didn't have a more concentrated area of Code Ninjas. Was it San Diego or?
Yeah, we have 3 up in that area now between Elk Grove, Rancho Cordova, and Folsom. There's 3 that'll be opening in that area in the next year. 1 here shortly, Rancho Cordova. Right,
because I know in California there's a very big market for that type of thing. Obviously, that's where all the tech in the world is born. So, believe it
or not, New Jersey's. I'd say the East Coast is going to challenge California any day, because that is. I get a call every single week from the East Coast. I get more calls from the East Coast, more inquiries from the East Coast than I do from California, and we're marketing more in California. So
interesting. Okay, so you guys are looking to expand into that area, into the East Coast, northeast coast, New England area.
Well, we're looking to expand everywhere. So everywhere.
Yeah, as you said. Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Take care.
I want to thank everybody for taking the time to join today's Code Ninjas conference call. We do these each and every week. This was a great call. Lasted, an hour and 15 minutes. It's fantastic. if you have any more questions and you want to reach out to me, Marty, at codeninjas.com, if you want to also, I get razzed on this all the time, but I'm more than happy to give out my cell phone number, and that is 763-516-3578. I can't promise you I'm going to answer your call in the next 20 minutes because I do have to bring aboard a new franchisee, so I'll be a little bit busy for the next hour or so. But you feel free to reach out. If I miss your call, I'll try to give you a call right back or text you. So if you have any questions and you want to reach out, feel free to email me, Marty at codeninjas.com. Thanks again for joining today's Code Ninjas conference call, and you can look for this to be on our YouTube channel in the next week. Thank you very much. Have a great day.